Have you ever wanted to make videos, but you're not sure how to edit them? And because you don't know how to edit them, you think that it's super, super difficult? Let me show you an editing software that is so easy to use that a grandma could use it, and that is going to make your videos look great without taking a ton of time. So with that being said, let's jump in. What on my screen right here is an editing platform called Descript. And this is, in my opinion, the best editing platform for beginners. The reason why is because there's a bunch of AI that is integrated natively into the product. You can edit with your words and you can see the timeline right here. So I'm going to edit this video. This is a 7-minute video that I recorded last night before I just put these black things up on the wall behind me. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take this 7.5-minute video and we're going to edit this whole thing. And I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly what we're going to do. And then guess what? I'm going to edit this thing into Descript as well. So basically what we're going to do to start is I'm going to come over here to where it says Underlord, and I'm going to click on remove filler words. So you can see I got 31 of them. Not great. Lots of ums. I'm trying to work on that. So I will remove all of the filler words. And now they're gone. Okay, pretty cool. Now I'm going to shorten the word gaps. So if there's any pauses where there's more than 0.4 seconds, it will remove it. So it is removing it right now. And now we should be good to go. Let's see. Remove it again. It says there is an error. I might have to try it again. Sometimes that happens. Okay, so it just shortened 85. So now when we zoom out, you should see it just got cut up a bunch of different times into these different sections because, again, either a filler word or a gap in time between words was removed. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say remove retakes, press submit. And if there's a spot where you say the same words over again, so for example, what, because oftentimes what is communicated, that's what I said right there. And so it's a retake because I said the same word again. So we just remove it. So this looks really good. A lot of the things you can just read right here. On other things. Again, it's not that you like good. Basically, then you just go here. So I have 10 more. So let's take a look at it. What to focus on. You can see right here, I say, oh, whoops, I got this thumbs up. This all looks really good right here. This kind of business, they would all, and then you came back. Okay, good. So now that 7-minute 33-second video is now down to 6 minutes and 9 seconds. So you can see out of that, we trimmed out about 1.5 minutes just of either wasted space in terms of there's gaps or in terms of wasted space when there's filler words. So now let's take a look and we'll listen. So after I've done all of this, what I typically do is I put it at 2x speed. So this only take me 3 minutes to listen to. And what I'm listening for is I'm listening to make sure that it sounds good. And I'm also going to follow along on this timeline, say that's a bit too big of a gap. I can just drag it right here. And this is how you can edit stuff really quickly. Now, typically for some of the other stuff that I'll do, I'll put it through Adobe Premiere Pro, which is another editing software. It's just maybe not as beginner friendly, but although it's still very easy. And so again, you can see I'm just cleaning up some of these because you can visually see where the gaps are. And the AI makes it really nice to just close them all up. So we're just going to close them. Very nice. And then we'll listen to it. But sometimes I like to just do this a little bit before and then we can listen to it all the way through. I went a little far right there. So I just pressed Command Z and undid it. And one of the other advantages here is if you zoom out, it lets you see the gaps just a little bit more. So you can see there's no gap right here, but if I zoom in a little bit, then this gap comes out. So the further you zoom out, the bigger the gaps are going to be that you see. Again, you can see another gap right here. So I can go in and just close that up. But I don't want to spend too much time doing this, and it already got a lot of them. So I'm just looking to see if there's any big gaps that it missed right here. Okay, so it looks pretty good. So now let's actually watch this thing. What's up, you guys? Wanted to make this video because one of the things that I say all the time that I believe to the core of my being is what you lack is not resources, but rather resourcefulness. Now, the first time that I heard this was, I think, from like Eric Thomas motivational video back when I was probably like 11 or something like that. But basically what he said in this video is he was like, you could take a millionaire, take someone who's a millionaire, you could drop them in another country, have them not know the language, and within a year or 2 years, they would be a millionaire again. And the reason why is because they have the skills. They've become the type of person. They know what to do in order. So one thing as I look at this, he was like, you could take a millionaire, take someone who's a millionaire. So I'm just going to delete that because that's technically a retake as well. So now it should sound but basically what he said in this video is he was like, you could take a millionaire, you could drop them in another country, have them not know the language. So this is the beauty of having it on text and listening. And then being able to edit by text is then I don't have to go in and find the spots in the actual timeline and cut it there. I can just select the words and delete it, and then it's gone. So it's really, really nice. And within a year or 2 years, they would be a millionaire again. And the reason why is because they have the skills. They've become the type of person. They know what to do in order to be a millionaire. And I always thought that was a really interesting idea. And I think what I heard from him, could have been from somewhere else, but was that it's not that you lack the resources, you lack the resourcefulness. And I want to offer just a few other pieces of advice based on what I've learned on that, of what that actually means. Because oftentimes what is communicated when we say that is that if you're not where you want to be, it's your lack of ingenuity. That's essentially what the quote is saying. And I think there's a lot of truth in that, but I also think that there's maybe a few layers deeper to that is worth exploring. So one of the things that I was writing down as I was thinking about it is that even though you lack the resources right now, that doesn't mean that you will continue to lack them. Because what I see from the most successful people that I'm around is even if they don't have the resources immediately, they get going, but then they go get the resources because the resources make it easier. So let me give the perspective in a content creation aspect, because that's what I've done. That's been something that has been really impactful. And oftentimes when people get going or they don't get going, the reason why they say that they don't get going is because they don't have the resources. They don't have the camera. I don't have the microphone. The lighting isn't good. I'm not a good enough communicator, right? Those are resources in a sense. In one sense, there's some skill deficiencies, but in another sense, they might not actually have the camera or the mic or anything like that. But they go, or they just start, right? I feel like that's oftentimes how it is. But one of the things I see from the most successful people is oftentimes they just start and then they go get the. So I didn't really like that flow. So I'm going to listen to that again. Skill deficiencies, but in another sense, they might not actually have the camera or the mic or anything like that. But they go, or they just start, right? So I'm going to delete that. So let's see how this. They might not actually have the camera or the mic or anything like that. Or they just start, right? I feel like that's oftentimes how it is. But one of the things I see from the most successful people is oftentimes. Good. So basically what happened, I said, but they go, and then essentially what I was doing was I didn't finish my thought and then went and finished another thought and then started again. And that can be confusing unless you can go and edit it. And then if you can go and edit it and post really easily by looking at the words, then it makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more impactful for the viewer, because sometimes we don't always finish our sentences. I know at least I do that. I'm trying to work on that. But if that ever happens, then you can just clean it up in the editing. Again, you're going to see this is going to take 10 minutes to edit max, and I'll get all my transcriptions and chapters and everything all lined up and everything too. So let's keep going. But one of the things I see from the most successful people is oftentimes they just start and then they go get the resources, and then they can now do it at a higher level because they have the resources. That's one point on that. And then the second point on that is a lot of times people do have the resources available. Like, for example, buying an editing software or buying a camera or buying a microphone. Like, they have the money to do it, but they waste it on other things. Again, it's not that you lack the resources, it's that you lack the resourcefulness of choosing where to allocate those resources. And that's not only in money buying equipment, but it's in time and attention of knowing what to focus on. And it's in using your money to know the right thing to go get. So again, it's not that you lack the resources. When you're young, you actually don't have that much money. So what you have to do is you have to go figure out how to get paid money to go buy the thing, or you can make a trade and you can work for someone and say, hey, I will edit your videos for you if you give me a laptop and pay for my software. I bet that a bunch of older business people would probably take you up on that. But then even if you get the equipment, then you got to go get the skill set to be able to edit it well. And so again, that can be a resources thing, but it's oftentimes a resourcefulness. It's knowing where to look. It's focusing on the right thing. And one of the things that I hear from a lot of the most successful people that I know is that so much of success is doing the right things in the right order. And I heard someone say that if you gave 10 entrepreneurs the goal to go start this kind of business, and then you came back in a year or 2 years or 5 years, they would all end up in different places because the order of what you work on matters a lot. And I told another entrepreneur that who was really successful, and he said, yeah, but I think that if you came back even later, much of their businesses would look the same. So it's very interesting because business often comes back to best practices because just simply the best way to do things. And the faster, again, this is that resourcefulness thing. If there is a best way to do things, the faster you can go get that information and start doing it, the more successful you will be. But it is interesting in the idea that the thing that you tackle first really does matter. And yeah, so anyways, that's my short video on my take on the 2 additional levels past. I don't like this. And yeah, so anyways, that's about 4 filler words in a row. Now let's just delete that and then start over. Tackle first really does matter. That's my short video on my take on the 2 additional levels past. It's not that you lack resources, it's that you lack resourcefulness. And it's really that, yes, you just need to start, but it's not just that. It's that you need to start and then go get the resources so that you can make it easy, because sustainability and ease and infrastructure really matters. Because if you can't keep doing it and it's not easy, then it's gonna be really hard to keep doing anything worth doing. It's going to take a little bit of time to build. And the second thing is, once you get the resources, don't waste them. And then I guess the third thing that we talked about is when you do get the resources, it is so critical to work on the right things in the right order, because if you work on the wrong things, nothing will happen. That's my take on the 3 levels deeper of what you don't lack resources, you lack resourcefulness actually means. All right. If you like this video, then you might like this video, or maybe this one. I think that there should be one in one of those 2 corners. All right. I'm Anj Bourgeois. Let's one together. Okay, great. So one of the other things to look for, and this is why I like to put it on 2x speed as well, is sometimes when you hear it, especially when you use the AI that cuts the timeline down and it says, you say shorten word gap. So again, you get to that by underlord, shorten word gap, and it says 0.4 seconds or more, shorten to 0.1. Sometimes what it'll do is it'll cut off a word in the middle of you actually saying it. And so you want to listen to it all the way through, even if it's a longer video, because if you don't, then it may not make sense. It might cut halfway through and it can feel choppy and unpolished and all that kind of stuff. So don't just use the AI. Absolutely use the AI, but don't just use it. So now the other cool thing about this as well is you can create clips from it. You can draft a title, you can summarize it, you can get a YouTube description. So let's do this. Let's get a YouTube description. We'll literally just press submit. And so So here's the title that it gives: Unlocking Success. It's not resources, it's resourcefulness. I think that's close. The real thing that we're getting to in this video is there's a common phrase of you don't lack resources, you lack resourcefulness, but there's really 3 levels deeper to it, and that's what we're covering in this video. Then it gives this description. In this video should say Anj Bourgeois breaks down the concept that success often hinges not on the resources that you have, but on your resourcefulness. Inspired by an Eric Thomas motivational speech. Okay, good. Yeah, that's accurate. Why millionaires can regain wealth regardless of circumstances, the importance of starting even with limited resources, and the critical nature of working on the right tasks in the right order. He offers practical advice on utilizing available resources wisely. Good. Okay, so I don't think that this stuff truly matters too much. Other people may disagree, but I wouldn't spend like a ton of time on this. And so basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go back and take this and put it into my database. So whether you use Notion or you use Monday or you use something else, but you should have some database where you track all the stuff that you post. So I'm going to go put that in there. So here's what it looks like for me. I have this one right here, ABL 018. Basically, it's Anj Bourgeois long 018, so that we have a numerical code for all of them. And then I'm going to come over to my video notes and I have a template in here that's for both short form and long form. But then I can come in here in the YouTube description and I can just paste this. So if it pastes weird, I can do Shift Command V, and now we have all of this. So now I don't love this title though. So I'm going to stop my share here and come back to Descript. And now I'm going to come back. I got my YouTube description, but let's draft a title here. Now it should give me 10 titles here. So unlocking success, resourcefulness over resources, resourcefulness, the key to achieving your goals, why resourcefulness beats having resources. I'm doing so, right, AI came up with the result. Now what I'm doing is I'm following up to it. And because a lot of people will get this and then they'll stop, they'll say, that doesn't actually fit. And when they stop, they don't actually get the result. Then they think the AI doesn't work very well. You just need to follow up with it again. So what I'm going to do here is say, I like some of these titles, but I think it's missing the idea that we're diving into 3 things. Additionally, we're diving into 3 things that make up what is it specifically that we're trying to say. And this again goes back to you need to know what the point is. And so let's see. I want to come back here. If I'm not sure, I'm going to look back exactly at what the video is. There's a lot of truth in that, but I also think there's a few layers deeper worth exploring. 3 things that are a few layers deeper worth exploring. So let's prompt it with that, and then let's see what it happens. So unlocking success, 3 deeper insights on resourcefulness over resources. Okay, much closer to really the ethos or the idea of what we want to create here. So beyond the surface, why resourcefulness beats resources, 3 deeper levels explored. I like that. I still think that's not the best title, but we're getting closer. So I like this. I'm going to say, I like this one. Can you make it more enticing to click on? And now it's going to say, discover why resourcefulness beats resources, unveiling 3 layers deeper. Say, good, give me 10 options that could make a viral video on YouTube. 10 options similar to this. And I actually don't like that as much. So I'm going to go back again. Why resourcefulness beats resources, 3 deeper levels explored. Okay, so I like that. So now stop my share. I'm going to come back over to my Monday board, and this is going to be my YouTube title. So now I have my YouTube title, my YouTube description, and then a lot of times we'll have like thumbnail instructions. I think resourcefulness is greater than resource, 3 deeper, 3 reasons why. That's not exactly the promise, but I think that this would be good. So thumbnail instructions, make a text only thumbnail and show these words on screen. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Again, we don't need a text hook or a script. The script generally would be in here, but I filmed this one just off the cuff because I was inspired as I was doing it and I didn't want it to expire. Inspiration has an expiration, so I wanted to just get it out. And so I made like a rough outline just on a piece of paper and then just filmed it. The beautiful thing is that with AI, it can transcribe everything and then you can pull text from that after. So now we have the YouTube title, the YouTube description, the chapters, and the thumbnail instructions. Either you can go make the thumbnail or you can have someone else go make the thumbnail, but that's essentially the process. Then maybe last thing to look at is if we come back to Descript, then what we're going to do is we're going to press publish. It sounds good. Press export. Make sure that this resolution is on max. That's a bit of a bummer that 720 is the max right here. Typically you want at least 1080p, and I filmed it on my iPhone through connected cam, so it should be a little higher, at least looks higher, but maybe I need to adjust the setting and where I was recording it. But so then we'll just press export. I can put this on my desktop, save, and then it takes a few minutes to export. Descript is slower than Adobe Premiere, but it works really well, so it's okay. You can wait a little bit longer. But all that being said, that is the easiest way to edit for beginners. I hope that this helps you both in long form and in short form. You can do the same thing, but I would highly recommend getting Descript, especially if you're a beginner. It was built for beginners and it's really good at what it does. So that's what I got. I'm Anj Bourgeois. Let's win together. And if you like this video, then you might like one of the videos up in the corner up over here. All right, peace.